Hey, happy Monday, everyone. Hope you are doing well on this new week. Beautiful day here in San Diego. The sun is out. It's supposed to be in the 70s, mid 70s today, so it's going to be a beautiful day. Beautiful spring day, that is. And yeah, I'm back at work. I was off for a week. Now I'm back. Spring break is behind us. Now we are back in the grind of things here at work, and this is In the Raw, unscripted, unpracticed, unedited conversation. We've been talking about the sayings of Jesus, the things that he said while he was here on earth, and today we are reading out of Mark chapter 8 verse 34 through 37, and it's a longer passage, and it says, "Then he called the crowd to him along with his disciples and said, 'Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul?'" All right, so there's a lot to digest here, what Jesus said. So he's talking to his disciples along with other people that were there, and he's telling them, if you want to be my disciple, if you want to be my follower, if you want to do as I do, if you want to follow my example, that's what being a disciple is. You want to learn from me. You need to deny yourself. You need to take up your cross and follow me. Let's stop there. What does that mean? Well, he's saying, if you want to follow him, basically, then you need to deny yourself. Deny yourself of what? Well, deny yourself of things that will distract you from following him. It's not always a bad thing. The things that distract you, sometimes they're not evil things or bad things. Excuse me. But anything that will distract you from following him, anything that will hold you down from following him, you need to deny yourself of that, right? And then he says, take up your cross. What does that mean? Does that, some people refer to that as, be willing to suffer all consequences, or be willing to, suffer in your physical life, for example. But what he's really saying here is you need to be willing. What does it mean to take up the cross? Well, Jesus took the cross to his death, and he was willing to give up his life for others. And he's asking us to do the same. Not in a literal sense, but maybe yes. But more than that, more than in the literal sense, he's saying, be willing to put down your life for others. Be willing to die to certain things in your life that are not producing anything good in your life, right? That's what he means. It's not a burden that we have to carry every day of our lives if we're going to follow him. That's not what he means. He means be willing to man, I lost my train of thought. I got a message here, sorry. Be willing to deny yourself to the things that will deny you from following him. There we go. And then he says, for whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. So here is his upside down teaching, what I call the upside down teaching. He said many things, in reference to kind of like oxymorons, maybe, or things that were contrary, right? And this is one of them. He says, if you want to save your life, you need to lose it. It's like a contradictory, right? You want to save your life, you need to lose it. And if you lose your life for me, then you will save it. So, so he said several times he said things like this, right? And then it finishes by saying, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world, forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? So he's talking about this is a matter of the soul, a matter of, who we are. And the Bible teaches us that we are made up of three parts. We are made of body, which is what you can see, which gets old, right? We're made up of body. We're made up of spirit. The Bible teaches us that God placed his spirit in us. It's that mechanism that will communicate with God, our spirit, right? In the beginning, when he created man, he blew his spirit into man. And so that ever since we've had that spirit, every time, and then when somebody passes away, their spirit goes back to the Lord. That's what the Bible says. And then the other thing that makes us up is our soul. That's our heart, our mind. That's where our feelings are. That's where our thoughts, are. And that's where our decisions are made. And he says, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world? We can gain the whole world. We can be successful. We can have a lot of money. We can be very famous. We can be well off, but the cost of our soul. Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? And what can we give in exchange for our soul? He's kind of leaving it with a question. We can give our lives to God. We can follow him. We can deny ourselves. That's the exchange that we're going to give for our soul. And our soul will be, when we die, when we leave this earth, our body will disintegrate, basically. Our spirit will go back to God because he gave it to us. And our soul, that's our decision. What's going to happen with our soul? Are we going to let it go back to God as well and be with God? Or is it going to be somewhere else? All right. Well, I hope you have an amazing week, a great start of your week, and we will talk to you soon.